Hello, everyone. We'll see what kind of crowd we get in here on this afternoon of the conference. So this panel is about clubbing, about why join the club, and some of the most innovative business models around products are with companies that have used the club model for shorthand to grow their business. So with me today is Jon Ein, who's with Marchay. Next to him, and I'll have each of these gentlemen talk about their company in a minute, and we want to get into the model, is Chris Smith with Inspirato, and then also Miles Rogers with Wheels Up. And so we're all in travel, we're all high-end, we're all exclusive. So I'll ask each of these gentlemen, starting with you, Jon, to talk a little bit about just a summary of your company, and then let's get into what makes these companies special.
Yeah, so my company is called Marchay. It's a club and service for frequent high-end travelers, and I'll tell you in 30 seconds how we started it. I was living in Paris, and I'm an investor, and I did the seed investment of Marchay, and I'm a co-founder, and I used to have all of my friends and colleagues come to Paris, and they'd say, what should I do, where should I stay, and do you have a rate? Because a good hotel is $1,000 a night in Paris. And I saw that so many people who worked at big companies and left and were entrepreneurs really missed that travel benefit of having an aggregated department with all the value, all the volume that you could leverage for value. So I said, you know, why don't we get our friends together? They invite their friends in a club structure. We can do direct contracts with the hotels. We can design our own service. We could crowdsource ideas, share ideas of places to go. And we just started doing sort of 5 contracts with hotels we love, and now we have 600 hotel contracts and a bunch of other stuff. But you know, Marchay is very much about using this private club membership structure to really change structurally how travel works and make it better than what's available publicly.
Okay, great. And then on the same theme as travel, and definitely with a lodging base, Chris, tell us about Inspirato.
So Inspirato is also for that affluent, discerning traveler, but one that the hotel experience is maybe started to break down for, right? They start to have some kids, or they're traveling with large groups, and they now need multiple rooms. So they want the services and amenities of a 5-star resort, but in the privacy, convenience of a home, with their own kitchen that they can all eat around, and a pool that's in earshot to the room where the kids are sleeping. So it was started with that idea. Our founder started a similar company, Exclusive Resorts, aimed at delivering on that luxury destination concept, and then Inspirato took over after that.
Okay, and let's move to how you get there. And private jet travel has been, there's been several companies and brands that have come up over the past 20 years, but Wheels Up, where Miles is a company that's been on an incredible roll. Most recently, they just raised over $500 million in private capital, and they're only 4 years old from some leading capital providers. So Miles, tell us about Wheels Up.
Great. Well, we raised $100 million at about a $520 million valuation, which is we're still excited about. No, that's okay. I was
shocked at the number. Now
we're an accurate group,
that's still a good raise.
We're excited about it. Backed by Fidelity, T. Rowe Price, NEA, and a lot of other individual investors. A lot of us are from the group that started Marquis Jet and sold it to Warren Buffett and NetJets. Kenny Dichter was the CEO at Marquis, and he's the CEO of Wheels Up. And we've got a great group together. And Wheels Up significantly reduces the cost to fly privately under a membership model. And we're already past 4,000 members and doing some innovative things through our app, so our members can fly on some of the positioning legs for a very nominal fee. People can ride share, and also a lot of lifestyle activities that go along with it. We talk about the 8760 culture at Wheels Up, which is 24 hours a day times 365 days a year. That gets you 8760. We take care of you on those hours that you're in the air, but also through our concierge and events for the rest of those hours in the year.
So staying with that, how was Marquis Jet not a membership, or would you describe it? How would it be different? How was it different?
So what we were able to do with the Marquis Jet card was really expand the pyramid of who was able to access private aviation. It used to be you either had to own a plane or own a piece of a plane. There's huge capital outlay and a lot of reasons why you don't want to have that asset on your books. And we made it so you could go 25 hours at a time. That was the Jet card. Where the membership has even gone next level is really the barrier to entry. It's only $17,500 to join as a Wheels Up member and only $4,000 an hour to fly. Whereas under the last model, it was a downstroke of a couple $100,000 and close to double the hourly rate. And we were really able to do that based on the airplane. We were able to get exclusive in fleet form with Textron, which is the King Air 350i. It's a flying SUV that can seat 8 passengers and 8 golf bags if you needed it, and it's really changed the industry.
Got it. Chris, talk about with Inspirato, since we're talking about the club model, we're always going to start with a transaction and a way to onboard people. What has to happen for that to become a club member? If it's a club member, we're talking about a relationship.
Yep.
We're going to get into trust, we're going to get into discovery, we're going to get into service and quality. But how would you describe that transition of what has to happen for them to be to go beyond just a transaction?
So that's the thing that we love about the membership model. It creates this ecosystem of accountability where we're on the hook to deliver a great experience for our members because we want to retain them year in, year out. And they're on the hook to transact with us, but through a relationship because of the fact that they've paid this membership initiation.
10 to 30K, at least to the
Yeah,
rate.
so our memberships
Upfront.
range with a one-time initiation fee of either $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000, and an annual subscription fee of $3,400.
And what happens before you get someone to do the 10 to 30K? What's the onboarding to get them familiar? Or are you relying on word of mouth?
So a lot of it comes organically through referrals. Some of it's through strategic alliances, actually like with Wheels Up, where their members get to experience Inspirato for a trial period before joining. And some of it is someone that knows they want to join right away, and we help them get into the club, typically when they're ready to book a trip as well.
Okay. So John, Chris and Miles have products, planes and exclusive homes, and they're constantly managing their inventory and utilization. Marchay has built an incredible following and has great investors and great press, and you lease, you have relationships, contracts with people. So tell us about that. I'd like to know why you chose that model and how you have found yourself to get comfortable with controlling the high quality of service that's demanded when you don't own those assets.
Yeah. Well, we did something actually that we've never run into anyone who's done this. There's really kind of 2 channels in the hotel market. There's the public channel that's actually regulated by rate parity. So if you go into any website or book through Amex, everyone's the same rate. They can't sell a rate publicly that's lower than another rate. And it's regulated with their contracts for the distributors. Then there's the private channel, which is basically corporate rates, or if you've ever gone to a wedding where they did a block, rate for deals, those have a different rate card, and if you've ever had a corporate rate. So we structured our business like a private co-op. We have to do a lot of stuff in terms of the privacy of what we do. We don't market publicly. We never market our rates, but we've convinced the hotels to look at us like a Goldman Sachs or a big company for the purposes of our relationship with them. And so we've slotted into that thing. So unless you're a member of Marchay or you work for a big company that does 500 nights in some hotel or 100 nights in a smaller market, you really can't get a substantially lower rate than what's available publicly.
But you're saying to me that Marchay is as much about cost savings as it is about high service?
Well, it's more, so that's the first part, but Marchay is much more about the service element than the cost. And when Chris was talking, we do vetting and a lot of onboarding of the clients because we make a huge investment in service with our members. And the difference in what we do from a commercial travel agency, let's say, is we don't make money on the commission. We do get commission flow, but we're not profitable as an agency model because we spend a lot more time servicing our clients to actually maximize their choices, maximize the value of their trip. That's not profitable from an agency model. So it's really an investment for us. So we need the right types of clients who fit kind of the method of our trial to at least cover the costs of service through commission, even if we don't make money.
I see.
So we can really make that very heavy investment in servicing them. And everything we do at our company is based around making sure the service is amazing, always improving it 24/7. And really delivering on that, because ultimately that's what creates renewals, which is the most important thing for our model, and referrals. And so, you have to get that right. So that's really 1 through 10.
Well, I definitely want to get into the technology of some of the technology used to track that. Let's talk about, though, I'm assuming if I sit in any one of your management meetings, churn, retention is going to be one of the key metrics you talk about. So Miles, you also have an upfront fee. People come in. Anything from what's an acceptable rate, how you think about it. I mean, it's part of every SaaS company too, but particularly with the model, I could see an argument where if somebody wrote a big check and then decided not to come, it feels a little bit like a health club model, and that's okay if they don't come. How do you think about retention, and what metrics do you follow?
So when you join Wheels Up, the upfront is $17,500, and then it's $8,500 a year in your annual dues, sort of like staying in the golf club. And it used to be an acceptable rate was somewhere in the 80s. We're excited to be at about 87% with our 4,000 members. We're proud of that number, but it's interesting as you talk to the Fidelities and the T-Rows who have been so supportive, our company is so much more valuable at 90% or 92% than it could ever be at 87%. So we really have a maniacal focus on retention and all the touch points that go into being a member, and what does that member life cycle look like. When you join, you're onboarded with a welcome call, you get set up with the app where you're able to book your hot flights, which are those empty legs, or the hot nights. We partnered with Inspirato, so some of the nicest villas and inventory that they have all over the world at a really discounted rate that only our members can click through and be able to select. It's our Wheels Down program, which is the hospitality side of our business. We have 3 or 4 major events during the year that we'll always do: Super Bowl hospitality, Masters, and Art Basel. But also we found doing things for the kids is so much more impactful from a retention standpoint than almost anything you can do for the adults. So, whether it's the private concert with Katy Perry, or the kids clinic with the Rangers, or have a hit with Serena, those things really resonate. So we look at it from the airplanes are critical. You have to deliver the best service in the world, and you have to make sure you get everybody from point A to point B. But on top of that, it's really the events and also so many of the member benefits that go along with it. We've partnered with a lot of different companies where there's complimentary hotel nights, ground transportation, really almost Xenia suits, jewelry partners. So it does have that club feel, and it's more than just the airplane, and that really all goes into retention. But if you're able to do things that nobody else can do, or events that resonate, that's going to help a big segment of the member base.
Right. Okay, Chris, tell us the same thing for Inspirato.
So I agree with everything that Miles said there. One thing I'll add to it, and I know that Wheels Up does this as well because we've been partnered with them extensively, but it's all about personalization for us. So we have a pretty, speaking to technology, we have a pretty extensive relationship with Salesforce.com. They've built a custom member relationship management system for us where we learn everything about a member, who they travel with, where they go, down to the brand of toothpaste that they want in the house when they show up. And so we use that information to help personalize their entire experience. Helps us put on events in their local markets, knowing their interests when they're at home, and helps us connect them with other like-minded members as well. So that sense of community is also really.
So that even with technology, that does sound labor intensive. What's the head count of the company?
We have about 450 employees at Inspirato. Yeah.
And I assume a couple hundred of those are in account management.
They are. So with a high-touch service business, there's a lot you can do with technology to scale the service aspect of it, but there's still a ratio that we maintain of members to service staff. So we have that personalized touch and a dedicated individual that they can call. So every time you call up Jim, you would get Jill, for instance, and she's the advisor that's taking care of you and your family when you travel with us.
And I have to ask, just because I do have some investments in the vacation home industry, it's very seasonal. It's about summer and ski. It's about beach and ski in summer and winter. How do you manage inventory against that?
It is. So there's probably 10 peak weeks in the year that everyone knows, and it's very dictated by the school calendar. But we have a pretty interesting revenue management system that allows us to basically flash sale our own inventory to members at the last minute. So it's a great member benefit. Within the next 30 days, all inventory that we have that our team has identified as distressed, we'll put it out there to members at a very, very low rate, basically just above our variable costs, which at the end of the day is really just housekeeping for those homes. So we're a very high fixed cost business with these leases on these properties, low variable costs. So for us, the more heads and beds that we can get, the more members traveling, the more likely they are to renew each year. And so we do whatever we can down to the lowest rate to push that inventory.
And the more likely they're to book an airplane to get there.
Yes.
Yeah, and it makes sense you would partner. Jon, tell us about any technology you use. Particularly, you have a little bit different model where you're contracting with people, but we talked about the quality. And I'd love to know from you when you know you have a long-term member. Like what do you look for to know you've got somebody, they love the service, and what technology do you use?
Yeah, so we use Salesforce. I think, there's so much overlap in these models and how we think about things. It's really about deeply personal relationship and information on the members so they're recognized and you have that intuitive service. And so I think it's so important to have that in the culture. And so your CRM is integral to that and Salesforce. So we have that, and that integrates with the GDS, which is the global reservation system for hotels. So we have a different inventory system and challenges, to Inspirato or Wheels Up. I think that, we do all this stuff too. We're constantly communicating with our members and getting them engaged. And I think, once the thing about travel and the travel we do, it's very sticky. And so very often we'll talk to someone, the member or CEO, and he's like, I want to do this. And then you get to the assistant and, they're great friends with their travel agent. They don't want to change, or they're in a habit of dealing with them. So we really have to work. And actually it's a requirement to join Marchay that you have to move the bulk of your travel. We have spending requirements. We don't want people cherry picking travel and just saying, oh, well, you have a great rate here, we're going to book with you, because we invest so much in that relationship. So we have rules, real club rules around Marchay that kind of deal with some of these things. But once they move over for travel, the retention's great. Our retention's over 90%. And when they start booking, $100,000 in travel in the first couple weeks, and they're getting great experiences and great rates, and then they become very reliant on it, and their offices become reliant on it. We know.
What do you like to see in terms of frequency?
We love, I think all of us are the same. You love your frequent members. You love your frequent users.
But is that once a month for business travel? Is it summer leisure travel with family?
For us, a good frequency, because the people use it for all their travel and their work travel. So should be once or twice a month. And then the big vacations, which is once or twice a year, basically.
Okay, Jon, you run a capital firm as well. You're chairman of Marchay. Everyone here is taking capital. So let's talk about exit, and exits are about growth. Okay, so we can grow a lot of ways. One way we can grow is to grow globally. So tell us about that. You've all started domestically. I'm unfamiliar with where you are in global expansion. Miles, starting with you, is that part of Wheels Up?
Absolutely. We think the King Air 350i is the perfect plane for Europe. Plane. We've got somebody over there already working on some partnerships and relationships. The first company we ever sold to Warren Buffett was Marquis Europe. So we feel like we know a lot of the ins and outs of doing it. But the King Air can actually go from Oslo to the south of France without a stop, and think it can be a perfect European plane and a perfect opportunity to expand there. And we see that's sort of the first opportunity on the horizon. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something in the next year or so. But we're also, we're looking globally. We think it's a great airplane for South America, and just other great opportunities. Canada, we're doing now, but the Canadian government doesn't let you do point-to-point within Canada. You can just go US, Canada. You could go LA, Calgary, or LA, Vancouver, but you couldn't go from, from Montreal to Ottawa. So we're trying to figure out what the structure would need to be to get in there the right way, because we think that would be a tremendous opportunity as well.
And Chris, is Inspirato buying homes in Europe?
Yeah, so that's a great point. When we launched in the U.S. in January of 2011, we had 42 leases on homes in destinations that we thought our members would travel to, and we had a lot of experience with exclusive resorts to build that, and took that risk. And now we've grown. We have about 10% of our membership base in Mexico. We have about 12,500 members total in the club. And we've started over the last 18 months really building out our European portfolio. We're in every major gateway city, lots of the leisure destinations. So that's probably the next step for us, launching in the UK.
All right, and Marchay is about setting up a city, getting contracts. You probably have a lot of hotel brands that are taking you there anyway. But are you already global?
Yeah, well, we have hotels around the world. We probably have 20 contracts in London, for example. We have them in Asia. We have about a third of our members are non-US, non-North America, because we started in Paris. So we have quite a few French members, Brazilians, and others. You know, we haven't opened an office internationally. We hope to do in the next 6 months, just because the service is so intensive. You know, you really want to move when you feel you're going to be able to deliver on your service promise. And so we've been growing, you know, so much in the US and hiring people. It's taken all of our focus to make sure the service level stays high and always gets higher. So I think when we feel we can do that, we still have so much to grow here. We'll open internationally.
Great. One more quick question. I know I want to see if anyone has questions, but we're almost wrapped up here. Membership model. Subscription model is already out there. People talk about retention of customers, whether it's LinkedIn having a low churn on people who become a customer. So what is it about membership, starting with you, John, that makes this different and special, particularly as we're at this conference about investors and the way it's presented? What is it about membership that's special, or a club?
Well, membership, the great thing is membership lets you really change the relationship and the economic relationship. So like I said, if someone's a member of our thing, they're going to get service that doesn't have to do with making commission off of them and making that a profitable transaction, which is how our whole business, our whole industry is structured. So we managed to fundamentally change their interaction with travel booking to something they can trust, where they have an advocate from this membership model. And you can also really invest in acquiring and onboarding a member, because the value of the members were so much more than 1 year's subscription. There's a flow of subscription. There's the referrals inherent in that. We also have commission from their travel flow. So the value of that relationship is much more for us. So for all those reasons, you know, if you can build a subscription model, it's fantastic.
Do you have a payback period that you use just internally?
A payback for what?
For starting with a customer, or are they profitable from day one, or how do you think about getting from the?
Well, they're pretty much profitable from day one.
Okay.
I mean, they pay the direct costs. You know, really, yeah, they're profitable from day one.
And membership?
So membership for us, it's in terms of driving our enterprise value, it's all about recurring revenue, right? So recurring revenue at a high retention rate is highly valuable, because it gives us visibility into our financial state each year, right? So we have now just under 13,000 members, each paying us $3,400 a year. Some of them have actually prepaid their dues for 3 years out. We just had 1,000 members do that last month when we ran a promotion. So that visibility and financial security that we have to go into the next year is something that our investors really love about our model.
Okay. Miles, we talked pre-panel. You said, look, we should talk about why membership, right? Especially you've been a part of some companies with some other models.
Yeah, I think it really provides the context to build a great long-term relationship. I think when you talked about trust, that's exactly it. It really, delivering airplanes, but also other things that might be of value to the members that they can take advantage of. The recurring revenue is huge. Our $17,500 basically pays the acquisition cost for the member. So any investor who was looking at Wheels Up would love it. Again, a high retention rate, and also just having that recurring revenue is huge. We're more like Netflix and Costco than we are a lot of the other companies, and you can actually, crazy enough, buy a Wheels Up membership at Costco now. So looking at all those different opportunities. And the other component to just the membership is members can put a deposit on account, which is also very healthy for a business. In December alone, we had projected that we would do $20 million in block sales. That's our members putting funds on account to fly, and we actually ended up hitting 58 million.
Wow.
So you can see that sort of loyalty as you continue to grow. And the earlier question that you had in terms of when do you know you have a long-term member, it's really after that second renewal. If you can get, year one and you can really see it's a little bit lower rate, but if you can get someone to do it a second time, you're in their lives. And if you've done something nice for them, they're enjoying the value of the program, they'll never leave.
Yeah, later or here at the after party, I'd love to ask you about what these companies need capital for, because it seems like you have people who are willing to risk with the membership. They're willing to front the money for the business, and there isn't the typical unprofitable curve you see in certainly on the businesses that I back. So very exciting. With that, are there any questions for the panel? One right here in front. A self-serving question. Any promotions?
You go first.
We haven't come up with anything.
Sounds
I
like
should have thought about it ahead of time. Yeah.
We actually, you all get an email after the conference, but we have a promotion for attendees to experience Inspirato for 6 months with risk-free. So at the end of that 6 months, it expires. We want people to get in with an 88% retention rate. We think if the right consumer, which we think a lot of the attendees here are, experience Inspirato, that hopefully they'll join.
Great. I look forward to trying it. Any other questions? Yes.
How do you guys think about, you're the same client who wants to come for business and for leisure? Is there any differences in how you approach that interaction and what you
Yeah, that's a good question. Business versus leisure.
So we have 2 tiers of membership. One is a corporate member, which allows you to have 6 unique lead passengers or business executives to fly on the account, and it works really well. They all have access to the app, and that's $29,500. And then we've segmented the individual family membership, that's $17,500. Where you can have 4 family members as lead passengers, and then introduced a more lifestyle program that we're calling 8760, that's only $69.50 to join. More, and you can have 1 other lead passenger. In terms of promotions, we'll give you a complimentary bonus hour and a Peloton bike. We just partnered with them if you join Wheels Up as a Montgomery Summit member. So we'll get you all squared away.
I saw that announcement. Any other questions for the panel? Okay, great. John, Chris, Miles, thank you very much for telling us about club memberships and really a really unique model. Very cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jim.